Like many golfers, a long-kept dream has been to play golf in the British Isles, to face the magnificent contours of land, sand, ocean, and sea. But a true adventurer craves not only a taste of the links, but also the heritage, hospitality, and uniqueness of the isle on which these courses sit. Golf Ireland graced me and some fellow journalists the opportunity to bask in Celtic culture recently, and as a videographer, my passion and pleasure is to share some of the magnificent sights and perhaps kindle your own dream of experiencing the wonder of Ireland. We flew into Dublin, but the city wasn't our base. If Dublin has suburbs, Malahide is one of them. It's a port town, and from our base at the Grand Hotel, we could gaze across the bay to the island course, which we would face in just a few days' time. So it was no surprise that the hotel corridors provided excellent facilities for players eager to sharpen their short game skills in preparation for what was to follow. A brief aside, students of Irish history know the prominence of potatoes in its past. However, this trip made me aware that it still is the national staple of Ireland. At fast food restaurants, there's only one size fries, super size. And when enjoying some of the fine regional cuisine, over the course of one meal, we were treated to no less than 5 different potato preparations. Our first taste of Irish golf was the Portmarnock Golf Links. A relatively new course, it was designed by Bernard Langer in the mid-90s. A clue to its recent history, the startling presence of palm trees, no doubt planted to make Floridians such as myself feel right at home, along with some other very cool features such as modern, original bench sculptures. It was smooth sailing to start, but that was an illusion. Little time passed before we started to sense we were like lab rats, stumbling our way through a maze of peaked green corridors. Having anticipated this, my purchase of 24 really inexpensive golf balls prior to leaving the States proved a wise decision. Because here, balls can vanish into the terrain, along with some players, I suspect. There aren't many blind tee shots. However, on the shorter holes that have them, it's essential to play away from the dog legs and mounds. But by doing so, taking one more club on the safe line means that these short holes won't play short. Though an occasional offending tree popped up to rankle the links purists, it's a great introduction to links golf, blending the traditional with modern design, that being the air game versus the ground game. The greens are very well guarded, so running the ball up is not an option on many holes. With these firm and undulating greens, never think bogey is a bad score on the Portmarnock Links. Our next stop, the Portmarnock Golf Club, reeks of history, now spanning 3 centuries. Carved out of a peninsula with sea and bay flanking either side, wind and weather can be friends or enemies on any hole. You would be hard-pressed to find any great golfer who hasn't trod the mogul fairways, working hard to avoid knee-high fescue grass and menacing bunkers. Even with admirable shot making, prepare to take a bit of a beating on many of the greens. This grand old course will test you every hole, which is why so many great championships have been staged here, and why whatever it takes to earn par should be considered a blessing. The European Club has become famous for its unique design. Well off the beaten path, you feel like Livingston discovering a new world when the clubhouse finally becomes visible. It's difficult to describe the layout except in somewhat harsh terms. You might say it's quirky, an attribute associated with the owner and designer, Pat Ruddy. He's a most congenial host and arguably the most respected and renowned golf architect in Ireland. But behind his warm smile lurks a competitor who dares you to challenge his most cherished possession.
It's links land. That gives you a position in life, because the links, there are only about 150, 160 links in the planet out of 30,000 golf courses. It's the original of the species, where golf began. It's beautiful ground, links land everywhere, rugged, long grasses, and down by the sea, where you get the salt in your nostrils and the seabird song and the wind blows. And so I was bound by the tradition of links. And the only other limitation I put on myself was what I liked. I build golf holes I like the look of. And it's a skill game even off the forward tees. People enjoy it best if there are people who appreciate that golf is a game which requires a little bit of skill to overcome it.
At any time, a slight miscalculation or unlucky bounce can put you in places you never want to visit. Deep bunkers, supported by towering rail ties and backed by even more towering mounds.
The old days when golf started in Britain and Ireland, it was largely built along the railway line. The golf course happened beside the railway line. The railway line wanted to get rid of some railway ties, and the golf club would say, throw them over the fence and we'll use them. Pete Dye brought them to America, having seen golf in Britain that way. So I've done a very traditional thing, just in a more pronounced way. It gives definition to the golf course visually. You can see I've left the ties sticking up a little bit, the fronts of them, so they can be seen, and it defines where the bunkers are.
Unless almost perfectly played, the only course of extraction would be backwards. Penalties are spelled with a capital P. And oh yes, one further challenge. Walking the course will provide enough cardio exercise for the entire month, especially from the tips, which play to a jaw-dropping 7,700 yards. Now, to be fair, coming down the final holes with my game under control somewhat, my well-played shots infused a sense of exhilaration and satisfaction in having challenged this magnificent beast, courtesy of Mr. Ruddy. And also, the course attracts champions throughout the world, from somewhat local Padraig Harrington to Tiger Woods, who currently holds the course record. The final stop in the Dublin tour is a course we caught sight of every morning from our hotel window, the Island Golf Club. Having played a good amount of golf in the Southwest, what struck me about the Island course was a similarity in scope. A number of holes would be played through towering canyons, though here, rather than sand, rocks, and cactus, the slopes are covered in fescue and gnarly native bushes. Unlike the canyons of America, formed by water and erosion, here the huge dune ridges were fashioned by the winds. And for over 100 years, various architects have tweaked and massaged the design. You won't be disappointed with their handiwork as you face a varied combination of elevations, angles, and lengths. With so much variety, it's a task remembering each hole, only that you were treated to a royal feast of links golf. But Ireland is such a links-rich area that with so much on the table, it's easy to overlook a great dish.
Well, sometimes when people think of Ireland, they think of the natural links courses and obviously playing courses that they mightn't be able to play at home. And often the iconic thought would be the trophy courses like Ballybunion, Tralee, other southwest courses, and maybe some of the ones here in Dublin. However, we at the Island Golf Club, we are a hidden gem of a golf course here in the Island Golf Club. We're located about 10 or 15 minutes from the airport and about half an hour from the city centre. We often have people who come here to play golf on their arrival or departure day on their tour, and they love the uniqueness of our golf course. We're located just beside Malahide Village, which is a beautiful seaside town. And in the old days, you used to be able to get a little boat right from Malahide, right from the centre of Malahide, right to our old first hole, which is now the 14th hole. And that's where our name came about, the Island Golf Club. Dublin as a golf area may have got a little bit overlooked, but we got to remember that we've got Royal Dublin, Portmarnock, ourselves, the Island, the European Club. We have fantastic links golf, all within about 40-45 minutes of each other. You don't have to be in the car for more than an hour, and you can play all your golf and base yourself in Dublin. And Dublin is a good bit of fun as well in the evening time, so you have plenty to keep you entertained.
Dublin is a wonderful port of call for golf travelers, so no matter what wounds were inflicted by the links, the vitality and charm of this city will revitalize you. Lights for bikes, music around every corner. It's a festival, and a sweet reminder of how lucky you are to have enjoyed life to its fullest. And as for hospitality, well, my last night in town, having some trouble finding my way back to the hotel through the winding streets, I came upon a police station. As two young officers came out, I asked what route was best to get back to my hotel. Their response, hop in, we'll take you there. First time in my life in a police car. Fáilte, Ireland.